Right. So today I'm going to walk you through how to navigate the Edpuzzle website, model how to insert a video into Edpuzzle. There are many ways to do that, so we'll look at a few different options. Add checks for understanding in the form of questions and notes throughout your video, and how to share the video with students and other teachers. In addition, I will show you how to create an Edpuzzle video assignment for your students to increase their engagement with voice and choice. Edpuzzle can be used for in-person or asynchronous learning. And even adults, such as administrators within our district, could use Edpuzzle videos to provide professional learning for other adults. At the end of this session, you will have time to play around with the features of Edpuzzle, create a video to share with your students, and ask questions. Here are our working agreements for our 1-hour session together, and also the adaptive schools norms of collaboration. Most importantly, I think, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking to the group to reduce background noise and potential feedback. And if any questions arise, please type them into the chat, or feel free to unmute your microphone. I do not mind being interrupted. And I'll also try to pause often to ask for any questions. I'll give you about 11 seconds here to select one of these 7 norms of collaboration to focus on for our time together. You might want to jot that norm down in your notes or make a mental note to yourself. There are a multitude of applications for using Edpuzzle videos. And so some of these tips here on the screen may or may not apply, like this first one, using short video clips. Depending on your purpose, if you're a PE teacher, you might make a video for students that's 30 minutes long because that's how long the workout is, or a visual or performing arts teacher might have a demo video that they share with students that's 45 minutes long because that's how long it takes to go through the process. As a science teacher, I've broken my own rule here of using really short video clips, maybe 4 to 8 minutes, when I've demonstrated a lab. I've had a 20-minute video. But for general classroom use, I would suggest using a video that's between 4 to 8 minutes long for students to learn a new concept or for review. Using a variety of question types, we'll look at multiple choice, open or short answer response types, and also the person making the video could put in some notes for people to pause and read. I would suggest using a variety just to increase interest. And I think it's important to keep the number of overall questions in a typical Edpuzzle video down to a manageable number, depending on your purpose and, of course, depending on the length of the video. So I've used as a rule of thumb making 1 question for every minute or every 2 minutes, kind of spacing out the questions so that if there were a video that was 8 minutes long, I might have 4 to 6 questions. Try to have that last question towards the end. One of the things that I'm going to walk you through right now is turning on prevent skipping. I think that's a really important feature so that students answer every question and watch the complete video. And of course, it's a best practice to model how you're using any new application or website with students and be very clear about how you want them to turn in their work to you, whether that's on the Edpuzzle website or in Google Classroom or somewhere else. So you can access Edpuzzle, I'm going to show you, through the staff portal in Clever, and your students can too. You can also push out any videos to students with a link. So you could put a link to an Edpuzzle video in a Google Doc or you could put it a HyperDoc, sorry, or in Google Classroom, however you push things out to people in an email. I'm going to go straight to this website. And the first place I want to show you is the settings. So this is the home screen, and you can see in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little picture. I haven't added an image, but if you click on that picture that you have put in, or that little silhouette of a human, and then click on your name, you'll get to the settings. They're hiding in there in this section. So as you scroll down in the settings, this is the place to turn on and off, prevent skipping. And when you're working with students, I would suggest that you always use prevent skipping so that they're, again, answering every question or watching every video. This is where you can turn on closed captions. Again, with a large population of EL students, I would suggest always using closed captions. And you can see other options here in settings, like whether or not you want your Edpuzzle videos to be available to other teachers in our district, other teachers using Edpuzzle anywhere in the world. I always make mine public because I like to share. And then you can ask Edpuzzle to email you or not email you here. This content button in the upper right is how I get back to my home screen, or how I get into my content. And I'll put the link to the slides. Thank you for putting that bit.ly, and here's the link again, so that you can sign in. Please do make sure that you've signed in. Okay, so back here, you can see that there are some options under curriculum, and we'll go down through this list in order. One way to search Edpuzzle for videos that other people have created is under curriculum, and you can see Edpuzzle is here as well below. So I'm going to model for you making an Edpuzzle video using this curriculum. I can view content for elementary, middle school, or high school. Before my position here, I was in Elsasol Middle School for 13 years teaching science. So I'm going to model for you with this science example, but you can see that there are lots of other content areas that you could choose from and grade levels. So as I go into what those chemistry teachers, 7th grade science teachers are starting out with, chemical reactions, I can look for a video, and these videos may or may not have a lot of questions. You can see this one has 11 questions. This one has no questions. So if I wanted to, I could edit their questions. I can make my own questions. I'm going to model using a video here that doesn't have any questions already embedded. So I open this video and I'm thinking, where's the button to add questions? You need to click on Edit. And then you have the option to cut that video down to size to make it shorter, to use voiceover, which you might want to do if you've made your own demo video for a lab, for a science lab, PE demonstration, any type of demonstration. But you'd have to voice over the voice on this YouTube video. So I would typically not use voiceover. I usually just go straight to questions. And so you can see over here on the right-hand side, I can add in multiple choice questions where students have only one correct answer, all the answers are correct, there are open-ended questions, and there are notes. So one way to start this off, if you haven't played the video for yourself, is to let it play and wait for the narrator to say something great.
Atoms are the building blocks of matter.
And so
books, your pencils, your clothes, and even the air are made of atoms. Atoms are extremely small. They cannot be seen with the naked eye, or even a magnifying glass. The word atom comes from the ancient Greek word atomus, which means...
So if I wanted to make this pretty easy, but have a student interacting and using a little bit of their, kinesthetics to click through these, I might make an open-ended question where the answer is showing in the closed captions or right on the screen. So I could say, where does the term atoms come from? And I'm expecting the student to be able to see it or have just heard it. Edpuzzle does pause here. You could possibly see that they played the video for a second, but then they want me to preview that and see, do I really like the question? This is a great time to see, have I made any mistakes? Is the term atom really the term I want to use? And if it's not, I could delete this question. I can edit the question. I could change it into a multiple choice question. And when I do that, when you're using the multiple choice tool, you need to select a correct answer. And then it will let you preview that question. And then you need to click continue.
It's indivisible.
If you're using a video
It's indivisible.
that you have already watched and you know, for example, at 48 seconds, there's going to be a spot where I want to embed a question, you might just drag this over to 48 seconds where you already know from watching and taking notes on your own that you want a question here. Or you want to cut it, or you want to put a voiceover at that point. If you didn't know that, if you're watching it for the first time while you're building the Edpuzzle, adding the questions,
For
you can
example,
let it
if you
play.
take a block of gold and chop it in half, chop it in half again.
And you can see I selected in my settings closed captions. And so on every video, especially YouTube videos that have closed captions, those will show. So I can add different question types. This time I might say, I don't know, I'm going to type in just anything for the sake of time. What color is this cube? And then if that were some important content that you wanted the student to really see from this video, you might give them your answer choices. Maybe there are more than one possible correct answer. I'm only able to put in A and B or two answer choices until I click add another answer choice, and I can add more answer choices until I'm blue in the face. So perhaps in this example, you have two answers that you accept or two answers that are potentially correct. We'll pretend it's between yellow and light yellow. So both of those are right. It is possible to have these multiple correct answers, but I might think, oh, as I'm previewing this, that wasn't really fair. I need to let the students know, or my audience, whoever they are, know this is a multiple select. So select all possible answers. Something to that effect, maybe something that you put if you have multiple correct answers. Right. And then I save, I continue.
And again. And again.
So I click continue.
For a very, very long time.
And I'm able to watch it, add more questions.
So an atom is the smallest.
Let's say I get to a point in the video where this is now an ad. Actually, the video's over and I don't want my audience to have to sit through the rest of this. I can go into cut, and I'm a little bit new to this and I need to play and practice some more, but I can drag and cut my video. And you can see that now the total time is 1 minute, 24 seconds. I can make it a little bit shorter. Maybe the final end of that video where I want it to be is actually 1 minute, 21 seconds. And then to save this, to share it with students and colleagues potentially, I click finish. So I now have a video that I can assign to my students. I can assign it to all of my periods if they're all doing the same thing. Or you can see if I actually had students assigned to me, I could assign manually to only a particular set of students in a class. And I have an option here to let them see this video when they go into Edpuzzle. If I don't share it by Google Classroom or HyperDoc, I could say on Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start this, and then it will be due the following Monday, perhaps. So the students will need to have watched the video and respond to the prompts by then. What is happening? stop talking and model a little bit. All right, so it's due the following Monday. It's due at, oh, I scroll at 8 a.m. They have closed captions available, and it's assigned to them. Another way I might share this What is Atoms video, I go back to my content and find this video. So I've just created this. It's right there. I could edit. I could duplicate it. Let's say in my period 3 class, I want to make a slightly different version of this video with different questions. I could share a preview with my colleagues. So I can copy the link and share that with them in a number of ways, in email, in HyperDocs. I can also share with students using this link if I don't want students and colleagues to go through Clever and into the platform. And I can delete this video. You can see another option down at the bottom is to decide to not share this publicly so that other teachers can search for it. So I'm going to pause here. I wonder if there are any questions, if anyone would like to unmute or type in the chat before we go on.
Yes, Robin. I did not do the edit part, but if I want to edit in the middle of the video, can we do that? It's easy at the end and beginning, but how about in the middle?
Okay, so let me finish this off and go to a new video or any video, let's say. So we have parts of an atom with 3 questions. We'll use this version. And I've either opened this because a teacher shared it with me, or I opened it because I made it. Wherever it is, you have it, and it's opened by editing it. And then you need to choose questions if you wanted to change the questions. So I think that's what Shahid is talking about, editing questions in the middle. Is that what you mean? Or did you mean to cut the video in the middle?
Cut the video in the middle.
Okay, let's try it out. So did you want to cut out a part of the video? Like this piece from 30 seconds to 1 minute and 30 seconds possibly is unneeded, and you want to delete that, but leave the end and beginning?
Yeah, how about in the middle, some part I don't want it?
Okay, so there is add cut. If you wanted to cut out a part in the middle. So we have the beginning from time 0 to, let's say, what is this time? The actual time, maybe 30 seconds. And then I want to add another cut here. Let's say I add the cut. And now let's see if I can get fancy and drag it out. Oh, and that's how you would do it. Yes, cut and delete that middle part that I didn't want.
Great, I've never done this.
I have never done this either. Do you see me being brave in front of you? And then get the rest of the video. You're gonna have to play with this.
Okay.
This is new to me. So yep, you drag, you add cuts. I'm gonna head out of here unless there's an expert in cutting videos that wants to share. I see Aaron Tisdale. A way to combine existing questions. Okay, not sure about that, but I'm going to head back out of here and continue along with the tour. And then maybe if that question wasn't answered by Aaron, we can talk about it in a moment. So we looked at curriculum. You can search Edpuzzle's videos. You can search for your content. You can also search in the Salinas Union High School District. Some of our teachers, like over at Alisal High School, Aaron Tisdale, Rebecca Ward, those science teachers I know are avidly using Edpuzzle. So we could search by teacher. If I want to look up Rebecca Ward, she's a science teacher. I know her PLC has been using lots of videos. We could look, we could also search, if I'm not finding it there, by science or any of the subjects. but I'm a science teacher, so I'll use that example, by grade level. And this will bring up the videos that have been made in our district for that topic and for that grade level. And then I might go in and modify things that they have already done. I think Ward is showing up as well.
She's a 9th grade teacher.
Right? Yeah, and a science teacher. And so you can see members of her PLC like Lucero Cruz and others around our district. So I could open up any of these videos. I could make a copy of it and edit and change the questions, or I could assign it directly. If this is a person I trust, maybe I've already looked through and previewed these questions, I can assign it directly to my students. Maybe I'll do that later. All right, so again, I go to the upper right-hand corner, content, to get back to my home screen. And my content is a location that I use the most. So while we could search for videos done by other people, oftentimes when I'm using Edpuzzle, I've created a video. Maybe I've made that video myself, or I'm pulling in a video that I like from a source and adding my own questions to it. When you're in your content, you can see this blue button in the upper right-hand corner, and you can assign students to make their own projects. So you can make folders here. I'm going to show you that in a moment. You can upload a video that you've already made. There's some options here. If you're empowering students to choose their own video and maybe for their peers design questions or to turn into you to show their understanding, this is where you would create a project. So if I'm going to, let's say I teach NGS2, integrated science for sophomores, I might be working on climate change. So my subject might be climate change, and then a goal of the project I could type in, find a video that explains the root cause of climate change. You can be as specific or as open-ended with that as you would like to. For the instructions, this is where I would suggest that you're very specific. If you have a number of minutes or a number of questions in mind, this is where you might want to put that in. So you could say, your video must contain, or however you want to phrase that. Your project needs to be, needs to include a video that is at least or between, say, 3 and 10 minutes. And you need at least or between, I don't know, 4 to 6 questions or notes. And when you save this project, you can find your project down at the very bottom. So if that was too fast, we can do that again. I just went into my content, and if you scroll past your folders, past your videos, your projects are down at the very bottom. So I can click that box and I can move it into a folder. Maybe I want to move this into my shape of life folder, or I need to create a folder for it. So I could say NGS2 projects. Select that folder and move it. I can also assign it to students. So I'm going to go to that folder now. And I have the same choices I was showing before. I can assign that out to all of my students in all of my classes, or just this one group in period 5 if I had students assigned to me. Oh, there's some examples of students from my past. So I can assign it out to just those students in that period, and then maybe all of period 6. You can add new classes here, you can see. And then students will be able to see that. And you can see there's downloading grades into a Google Sheet. You can delete the assignment if you're cleaning up. your Edpuzzle account, and you can share that in an assignment out with your colleagues or out with your students in any manner of ways that you like to share links with students. I'm going to pause for a moment. And I see there's a lot of activity in the chat, but is there anyone who would like to unmute and ask a question? Or I'll try to look for questions.
Robin, that project thing that you were just talking about, this is something for the kids to put in their own video?
Yes.
Is
And
that
so-
new? Or did I just miss that forever?
This is new to me when I presented at our Ed Tech Showcase in December, so 6 months ago, new to me.
Okay.
I started using Edpuzzle, I think in 2009 or 10 with videos from Shape of Life, and you can no longer embed video links. So I know Edpuzzle makes changes all the time, but I think that anytime you can give students choice of the input that they're taking in, the information, or choice of ways to present. Someone can mute. I think someone maybe has their microphone on. It would reduce the background information. Thank you. Anytime you could give students some choice, it makes their learning more real for them and engages them in your class. So I think these student projects are amazing, and this is a new way to use Edpuzzle. I'm going to get out of here by going and clicking in the upper right on content again. And I'm going to go down into some popular channels. Did that person unmute to ask a question?
I was going to say that, so with the project, the students can not only put on their own video, but they can also, it's basically like they're making the Edpuzzle.
Yeah, you're flipping it. They're the teacher. And
Are they able to have each other do each other's Edpuzzles then?
You mean as a teacher?
Yeah, like could I take my students' projects and then assign their projects to the class? Like here, you do their Edpuzzle, you do their Edpuzzle, stuff like that.
Yes, and remember how I shared the link? So one of the ways to share is to get that link. You might want to make a spreadsheet if you were doing that and share that spreadsheet with students, or use something like various different applications so that it's not confusing which video, or maybe you're giving them choices. You can watch one of these videos by this date, and you could share it by link. I think that's how I would run it. Has anyone shared videos throughout a class like he's asking? That's how I would do it. I would make a spreadsheet, maybe a Google document that has lots of links to the videos. So it's easy for students and they have it all in one place. All right, so if we were to go into Edpuzzle in this direction, you can search by subject. You can search also by grade level. So we could find something in art. Maybe it's for college. Let's go with middle school. For 7th and 8th grades. I take science out. You can search the country. This is new. How exciting. And so now we can see some videos. Looks like a little bit of science, but possibly I'm getting some videos that are, oh, I didn't get the, the art to show up. Save down at the bottom. Okay, so now their art. Intro to collage, types of adhesives. I can look in here and again, I can see if there are already questions, I could edit or delete them. Or I can see if this is a video like basic techniques for paper sculpture where you don't see the number of questions and the little dropper. There aren't any questions here, but either way, I can use that video and I can make it my own. So that's another way to search. You can search YouTube, and YouTube works really, really well. So I might search here for, let's see, vaccine. How do vaccines work? Maybe your students were just assigned an Edpuzzle and they need to explain vaccines. So they're looking here for a video. This is one way to do it. Perhaps they find this video, they watch it, and they trust this news source. So a student or teacher would be going through this in much the same way. If I want to edit this, if I want to add questions, I can't find the questions. Where are they? I need to click edit as a student or a teacher, and there's questions. So I can embed questions or notes. And I just want to show you quickly because I didn't.
Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine.
Million. A senior minister says Indonesia is already dealing with the first case in.
Okay, perhaps they've said something really important, but they used vocabulary I'm not sure my students will understand. I can embed, instead of a question to check for understanding, a note. Like, I really want them to know in India, there is universal healthcare for everyone, or there are, I don't know, 1.5 billion cases. Whatever the very important idea is, or let's say it's a terminology like spike. Spike, they might not know. So I put in the definition for spike. An abrupt increase. Abrupt. I'll try to spell abrupt in front of you. Anything at all that could clarify, it's going to interrupt the video for them, and they're going to have to continue to watch it. So you can see that note is there, and I can go back and, oh, maybe I should change abrupt is too hard of a word as I'm previewing it, or some other teacher used that word and that's not the word I want to use. I can also delete that note, just like any note or question. So I don't know that I've shown you folders. I'm going to go back and show you how to create a folder. Oh, no, I did show you that. All right, here's what I wanted to show you. If you had attended a training, let's say you're not finding a video in YouTube in this search. When you're searching for a video, you type in something like color palette, and you knew that there was a video on color palette that you saw before, but you're not finding it here. You can't find a certain video. You can copy and paste a link directly from the YouTube channel into this. So let's say I've gone to this training. I have this video here on this slide that I really want to use. I can take this link from anywhere on YouTube and put the link in, and that will immediately bring up that video that I wanted. Stopping it over here. So that I can work with it, voice it over, cut it, add questions, add checks for understanding. Let's say you have created your own video and your video is over the size limit of 1 megabyte that's allowed in Edpuzzle. Maybe you've done a demonstration of some kind. You can upload your video onto YouTube, drag it in, or you can select your video from your desktop or wherever you have it saved. And then you can take that YouTube link and copy and paste the YouTube link into Edpuzzle, just as I did with the link that I got from this slide from the Passports program with our state parks. So good to know if your video is taking too long to download, where I'll show you that. So adding content, we looked at putting together a student project. You could upload a video here. So if I've just downloaded it and it's sitting here on the bottom left of my screen, I could drag it in. I can grab a video from my files, from my Google Drive, or from my desktop or computer directly. So those are a couple of other ways to take videos if you're not getting one that's already been made by someone. All right. So I definitely wanted to show you creating folders from here. So this is another place besides when we were within the student project, I created a folder for it. You can do things from many different angles in the Edpuzzle platform, like another platform. So this is another way to make a folder. So I can title my folder whatever I want. I can add a description, and I can save that folder. So here's my nonsense folder. I might want to delete that folder or edit the crazy names that I gave it. I might also, let me head back to that folder. I might also want to move the folder or delete the folder entirely. And so if I wanted to take a video like this one, I can go into my videos from my content. As I scroll down, I can put the Sea Otter video in a folder. Again, I'm going to click on that folder name, and then it will move. And you can see that Sea Otter video is no longer in my stream of videos. Now to locate it, I need to go up into this folder where I put it. And this little box at the bottom gives you the option to assign that to students, to edit, to move it to another folder, to duplicate it. Again, maybe you have another version you want to give to a sheltered class or an honors class. I could unselect to reverse what I just did, and I can also delete videos from here. All right, I have not been pausing and looking at my chat very much. So, okay, so yes, you can assign videos. I'm looking at Aaron's last comment through Google Classroom. You can assign them through Hyperdocs that you share in any way with students, through email, and straight through Edpuzzle, because again, students will be accessing Edpuzzle, or can, through Clever, through the student portal, just like teachers can. Before we head out and have some time here to make our own Edpuzzle videos, are there questions from anyone? Okay. Steve, I see your hand is up.
Hi, yeah, I raised my hand. I just want to point out one thing that I had trouble with last year, even though I've used Edpuzzle for a couple of years now.
Mhm.
When creating a classroom, Edpuzzle gives you two options to create a classroom. Yeah, the plus sign on the upper left-hand side there.
Mhm.
Okay. The first one is add a new class. I instinctively did that. Having not done it for a couple of months, I clicked that by mistake, and because I forgot what LMS stood for, Learning Management System. So once I click on the right side, LMS, then it connected with Synergy and populated the correct students into my class and linked up all the grades correctly. So I'll never make that mistake again. That's it.
Thank you so much, Steve. Okay, so I have some Google Classrooms, but I don't have students assigned to me, so things aren't showing up as they might for you, but that's a great tip. Are there any other tips from those airplane users, people who have used Edpuzzle quite a bit? All right, so I'm going to try to reshare that, Teresa. When adding or when populating your classes, instead of using this plus sign in the upper left and adding a new class, period 1, whatever it is, whatever your description, instead of creating new classes, because Clever is managing Edpuzzle for us, we can use Google Classroom. And so Steve's suggestion is to not add and make up your classes since they are already rostered. You can connect them this way through Google Classroom. Hopefully that helped Teresa to see that twice. Great. Okay, well, we have about, I would say, 15 minutes here for you to play around in Edpuzzle a little bit. If you would like to unmute while you're working, there are 41 people logged in here. You're welcome to ask questions as we've been kind of bouncing ideas off of each other or in the chat. You can also type in the chat or unmute and let me know that you'd like to go in a breakout, and I'll work one-on-one with you in a breakout. I was asked to put a link to the Teacher Prep Hub in case you have general questions about the Teacher Prep sessions today, tomorrow, or Friday. In case you need that, there's information that you can go to by clicking on video stream. Jen or Brianna will be there to meet with you if you need that type of help. So for about 15 minutes here, please explore and use this time to ask questions and make your own Edpuzzle videos.
I have a few things just for other pros to see if they've found any solutions for things that I've been looking at. One of the things that I've been trying to figure out how to do and have not figured out how to do, I'm not sure if it's available, is a way to store correct answers to free response questions in Edpuzzle.
Okay. Storing correct answers. Wow. I've never seen a place where you could even type the correct answer. So let's start there. Here I have, let me go to one that actually has questions. Have any of you, Aaron, have you seen, go to my content, anywhere where you can type the questions?
I'm pretty sure like that we can actually go and take, like actually do our own Edpuzzles. And I think it'll score it for us, but then I'm not sure like how to like quickly and easily access that. Like for instance, there's some sort of specific question that has a specific answer. And if I'm using that a year later, instead of having to rewatch the whole video or a segment of the video to remember what the right answer is, I just kind of like to have my previous year's information already in place. I haven't figured out how to do that, but I'm pretty sure that like you can actually go into your own videos and I think if you hit play or something, I know there's somewhere where you can actually like go do our own Edpuzzles, but I'm not sure how you can actually store information that way.
Okay, I will look into that. How can you store your answers and auto grading?
There, while we're at extra questions, I got another one for my set. Let's say I have a series of 3 questions, like say that just on the screen right there, you have 3 different spots with questions. Is there a quick and easy way that I could take all of those 3 questions and merge them into one question set? And then is there a way I could put them on a very specific time without having to slide things back and forth? Like say I want to make that happen at 5 minutes and 26 seconds, but I don't want to have to fight a slider for precision, because the slider is very imprecise.
All right. I know how to edit questions, but I don't know how to merge them. Anyone else know that? All right, Erin, I'm going to look these up and get back to the whole group. I'll email answers to questions that I find to the whole group of you.
Robin, can we just delete the question and then make a new question? Just writing it down, combining everything, and then put a new one?
That's the way I would handle it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like make a copy of it and then edit it.
Delete all the question and you put your own question.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I'm seeing a question from Catherine Pratt. How can we get the recording from this session? I will be sharing the recording with Jen and Brianna. They have a spreadsheet. And so they're going to send out an email with all the links to all of the presentations as they do after all of these teacher prep showcases. And then they also have a YouTube channel where you can watch the presentations from the past. So look for Jen and Brianna's emails. That's how you can get the recordings. Under school, you do need to choose LMS, as we were hearing. So go back in there. In my classes, if I am creating new classes connecting to the LMS, know that right now our master schedules are not done for all classes. And so this may or may not be syncing to classes that are rostered and ready. But very soon, since we start in 2 weeks, you should be able to see your classes. I hope that helps. Teresa.
So when I go to settings and I click my picture, it allows me to go to a section that's called school. And there's a drop down that says LMS LTI integration. And it asks me to choose one. And it says Canvas, Moodle, Schoology, Blackboard, PowerSchool, and Blackball. But I should leave it empty, right? Because we use Clever or we use Synergy, and you guys haven't chosen something under that category. Is that correct?
You lost me for a moment, but what I was just saying about the master schedules not being done, so Google Classroom or Clever are our LMS. We don't really have a real LMS. We use Google and then Clever.
Sorry to interrupt you. That I understood. So I know that my classes haven't been uploaded yet. So I'm on a pause for that. I just was looking at settings and those type of things. And LMS LTI integration had come up. And so I'm just not going to play with it. It's under school. And then drop down. Do you see that LMS LTI integration? And then it asks me to select. So just leave it blank, right? Don't play there.
I would not play with that.
Okay.
I looked at this last night and I was tempted to play. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to play because I didn't want this presentation to be impacted in any way. But yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, so that's why I thought maybe I had to do something before you guys were talking about Google Classroom and integrating my classes through that method, which I will do, but I was concerned that I needed to click something there as well. So thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely. Another answer to that is we don't really have an LMS. We don't have these things.
Right.
As I've been looking at textbook companies and talking to representatives, our LMS is Google, and
Okay.
which is not really one of the LMS. Anyway, okay.
And I knew that, Miss Pratt, about Blackboard, and that's why I almost clicked Blackboard, but I'm not going to click anything at this point. So I'll just leave it alone as is. Thanks.
Perhaps we use Blackboard, but not as a full LMS district-wide. Yes, Catherine, I would recommend using short video clips. And I tried to say 4 to 6 minutes or 8 minutes maximum if you're using it in class and it's a 50-minute class period. And this video purpose is for students to introduce them to a new concept, or if they've just taken an exam and they need to have some type of intervention for some parts that they missed. If you're using it for those purposes, informational, that's when I would use short video clips, just because the student's attention span is what it is. If your purpose, though, is for them to do a workout in PE or demonstrate a process in art or in science, then that goes out the window. I would give students the same general guidelines for using as short as possible, to be kind to the audience, video clips.
Well, something I'd like to add on just is something that has worked well for my kids in the past. Like there was a question earlier about resetting student progress. And if you plan on taking the student's grade directly from the Edpuzzle, which is super easy and no problem to do, quite often I will give them the opportunity that so long as it's before the deadline, I will reset their progress anytime that they ask me, so that they can redo the whole thing for a better grade. And basically it means, okay, they've done it once, they've seen it, they knew they missed a few, they probably know the answers now. They watch the whole video again, do it in, and hopefully score better on the second time around. There's those select students that usually like to strive for the top grades will almost always take advantage of that system.
Thank you so much, Erin. Where is the reset button if I wanted to reset for anyone?
If you go into a specific video and you see there's your student list, the triple dot on the right-hand side as the reset progress button, and that'll do it right there.
Cool, thank you. So Jessica Sandoval can now, she's somewhere else, maybe in college, but she could have turned it in again. That's very helpful.
And it's very important that they understand that, like, once I hit that reset button, their grade is gone. Like at that point, it's like, okay, your old stuff is basically like I threw it away. You have no grade anymore, so they have to do it again. It's important that they know that like they're going to get what they get on the second time around. And now if they want to do it a third time and they still have time, I'll go push the button for them. But it is very important that, like, before you just start resetting kids' grades, that you understand it's a reset. You get what you get the second time around. The old score no longer exists.
I'm also seeing a reset student progress button over on the lower right, and it seems like that would reset it for the whole class.
I think so too. I haven't messed with that one, but yeah, that's for everybody. I've never done it for the whole class, only for individuals and only by request.
Yes, yeah, maybe only if you messed up. Thank you, Steve. So we have 2 minutes left in our session, and I want to give you a chance to fill out this session evaluation. It's on our last slide, and I'll put the slides link in the chat one more time in case you need that link to sign in or complete the evaluation. Thank you all for participating, especially those who had questions and ideas to share. Thank you so much, and have a great school year.
Thank you, Robin. I just have one final clarification. I really appreciate this, and I'm going to be using this. I'm the reading coordinator at Hardin Middle School, and they want me to create a 30-minute lesson for our PBIS day about our reading programs. And so I'd like to use this, but that's why I was asking about the limitations on the time frames. You had mentioned a certain limit that it allows. So 30-minute lesson would be too long then, correct? I would have to do more than one?
No, the time limit was for like kids' attention span, and just to be kind to the audience. If you're an adult using this for professional learning, then my recommended keep it short time frame goes out the window, and you can put your whole video straight in Edpuzzle. If you've made it in, Loom, or maybe you've recorded a Google Meet or whatever your recording is, if it's not loading because it's enormous, and you've downloaded it to your computer, right? It's larger than 1 gigabyte. You won't be able to drag it in or use one of these. So instead, you would go to YouTube. I'm just going to open it real quick. On YouTube Music up by accident. Shoot. I'm not getting to YouTube fast enough. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this I'm sorry about that weirdness. Wow. So inappropriate. At least we're all adults. The section that I just went by way too fast because some weirdness was happening. This is where you upload your video that is too big. Edpuzzle's telling you, oh, your video is enormous. Then your workaround is to upload it here using this cool button. You can drag it right in here and then use this YouTube link, and copy and paste that YouTube link into the location right here with your own way too big video, and you have a YouTube link for it.
Okay. I think you had gone over that before, but I needed a review. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. I went too fast. Thank you, Catherine.
This is awesome. Appreciate it.
I'm going to hang out as long as you're still here. There's 21 people. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask more questions in the chat or by unmuting. Thank you again, everyone. Do you know how soon we will have access to your video? Well, I can email it straight out to you. It comes here, so I have to wait for it to arrive there, and that usually takes not very long, although I'm still recording, aren't I? I'm going to stop the recording. So yes, as soon as I get the recording, Teresa, I will email it to this group, and you'll also be able to get it from Jen, Teresa Rainey.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you for completing the evaluation. If you're still here, also please make sure you signed in. Rwanda or Marisol, do you have any questions? Okay. No, not at all. I just wanted to make sure I'm here to support you if needed. You too. All right. Bye.